Okay, Pest-free Banks Peninsula. David, please.
Thanks for warming up. Tēnā koutou katoa, Mr Mayor and councillors. It's great to be back in this hallowed forum to give a bit of a report card on Pest-free Banks Peninsula. I am joined, I'm very pleased to say, by our overall project team leader, Tim Schoberg, and I'm really glad he's here because rather than reciting the information and data that's in the submission that we made, I thought let's use the time to get an on-the-ground assessment from Tim, and he can answer your questions in a way that I couldn't dream of doing. So I just want to start, though, by saying how grateful we are to the City Council for the ongoing support and commitment you've made to this project. We are extremely fortunate to work with your fabulous staff on the ground in design and implementation. A shout out to Paul Devlin, Alison Evans. They're doing a terrific job, and many of the other staff here in the council chamber, here in the council offices are giving great support too. So, Tim, would you like to give us an update on how things are going?
Sure, kia ora. Cheers, David. He's kind of throwing me in the deep end here, and I'm much better at setting lead control traps and speaking in front of you, so I'll do my best. So Pest-free Banks Peninsula, we are at the stage of building credibility and legitimacy with our community. We are undertaking a very intensive possum elimination on both private and public land, and overwhelming support from the community. In fact, we cannot keep up with them. There is some really good examples of the community really, keen and eager for this. And we were going to sort of be talking about, the tallies and everything else, but the reality is the community are seeing the benefits of what we're doing, and there's a couple of key examples I'd like to share with you. Simon Rogers, who's out the back of Onoku Marae, himself and his wife and their dog have removed about 500 possums the last 4 years. Since we've gone through there, he hasn't found anything. So operationally, we're going good. We've got a few learnings to do and challenges to scale this up, but by and large, we're hitting our targets. And
that's after how many bait stations dispersed?
Fair bit of work. It's very intensive what we do. We need to expose every possum's core home range, so there's lots of walking around the scrub. The effort required is substantial. We're currently working over just over 1,000 hectares, and the aim is the 23,000 hectares.
Tim's being modest. They've laid out something like just under 1,000 bait stations, having cut access tracks through some of the most horrible gorse and rural land you can imagine. And in Le Bons, you found a similar story, didn't you, after putting out the road barrier?
That's right. So the Le Bons Bay community, very proactive community, they've really come to us and said, look, we know it's going to be a while before you come around in your elimination project, but there are possums here. So we have set up kill traps and really been cleaning up those possums through there. So much so that in the last week we've had 3 landowners come back to us and say, actually, we are always seeing possums on the road. We're not seeing possums now. To give an example, I think 25 of our possum kill traps have killed just under 300 possums in about a 3-month period. That is a lot to do with the investment in our team. They are very sharp at what they're doing and very proud of what they are doing.
It's very disconcerting sitting here watching the clock count down, so I'm just going to leap in and say our major funding for Pest-free Banks Peninsula runs out in 2025. In addition to the very solid biodiversity gains that this extraordinary project has been making, We've also, as Tim has alluded to, created and generated ongoing and growing social expectation. So the seed I would like to plant with you all is that our funding needs will only continue to grow. We hope that you will continue to be an active funder of this project, and that I have a suggestion that over a multiple year funding, please consider index linking the funding, because inflation has been eating away at our ability to spend money as effectively as we would wish.
Tyler.
Kia ora. I see you're doing a lot of mahi from your submissions. I was just wondering, for those, even in the public, that are unaware of the mahi that pest-free Banks Peninsula do, can you talk to us about the benefits of having a pest-free Banks Peninsula?
Sure. Several solos. So obviously, community. Through working together as a collective, that's really bringing us together. And obviously the biodiversity. On Banks Peninsula there is a real biodiversity hotspot. So protecting those and letting them thrive for the challenges they face in the future. And this all links in with the government's Predator-Free 2050 ambitions.
The other thing
There are feral cats, stoats, possums that affect a lot of the native wildlife that are sitting in those hills and in the forests, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank
The
you.
other thing I would say about added value is that the project is a collaborative front. It's brought together agencies that previously were working in the same broad aims, but not working collaboratively. So the overall gains weren't multiplying to the degree that they are in this project now that we've got DOC, ECAN, Selwyn District, yourselves, all working on the same project with the same goals, the same intent. So
that's very good. Now, David, are you continuing with Banks Peninsula Conservation Trust?
indeed I am. Yes.
And then we have you again.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, as if to possibly prove that you can have too much of a good thing,
No.
I regret to advise